Hi everyone, this is a Macquarie University School of Computing project where we will use the Java programming language to learn the fundamentals of computer science. In this introductory video, we'll provide an overview of the concepts covered in this series and demonstrate a simple Java program. We'll include many images and examples throughout this series to help you understand the topics, and we encourage you to review and try the examples for yourself. Something to keep in mind throughout this series is that with every problem we encounter, before we launch into writing code, we want to develop a sequence of steps to solve the problem, which we will refer to as an algorithm. So let's get straight into our topic overview. In our first set of videos, we'll learn how to set up both Java and the environment we'll be using. In our videos, we'll be using an integrated development environment, or IDE, called Eclipse, but we will show you how to set up both Eclipse and a text editor called Visual Studio Code. We'll walk you through what you need to download, as well as provide step-by-step instructions for proper installation. Then, we'll go over classes and objects, what they are and how we can use them. Next, we'll take a look at some advanced functions where we'll use a powerful concept called recursion. Then, we'll focus on the limitations of arrays and look at other data structures we can use instead that may be more powerful in certain situations. Then, we'll finish this series off by looking at some more advanced topics such as sorting. Throughout, we'll mix these concepts together to build upon what we've learned and practice our problem-solving skills. We'll be using concepts from our COMP1010 video series throughout this course, such as variables, conditions, loops, and functions. If you are unclear about how these concepts work while watching a video in this series, we strongly advise you to pause the video, watch the corresponding video in the COMP1000 series, and then come back. You'll find that processing and Java are very similar, which will help us greatly in making the transition, but we will point out the differences as they arise. Now let's start by familiarizing ourselves with a sample Java program. We'll be running the program in Eclipse. This does require some setup, which will be covered in the following video, so for the moment, please just watch along to learn the structure of a program. In processing, we needed to use the setup and draw functions to run a program. Similarly, in Java, we need these first two lines in our program here. Every program needs to be inside of a class, which we will learn more about later, but for now, it is useful to know that we will run the program from this class, so it must be made public. By convention, class names are normally nouns and always start with a capital letter. We can call the class anything we want, but we must make sure the name of our file is the same as the class name. Notice we have called our class hello in this case, so we've written public class hello on the first line, and our file name is hello.java. The .java part of the name is the file extension and tells us it is a Java source code file. As a refresher, any text that is preceded by 2 forward slashes is a comment. These are notes for ourselves and won't affect the execution of the program. In our second line, we need to create a main function. This is called our driver function and is executed when the program is run. We will learn about the static keyword later on when we talk about classes and objects. However, you may remember when learning about functions that void is the return type of our function. That is, the main function does not return anything, it just runs and executes the code inside. The string array args inside the brackets is the single parameter of the main function. We always need to write this when creating the main function, but for this video, you do not need to understand why we need this specific parameter, but it will be discussed later on in the series. Of our first two lines, the only customizable parts are the class name hello and the formal parameter args. We can replace the word args with, for example, Jerry or Tom, but by convention we use args. Inside the main function, we write all the code we want to run. For this program, we have a simple algorithm where we first create a greeting variable that stores the string hello there. Secondly, it prints the greeting to the console. In processing, you would have only had to use the last part of the function call, that is, just println without the system.out. The reason why we need to use system.out when using Java is beyond the scope of this video, but will make more sense once we cover classes and objects. We need to close the main function with a curly bracket, as we did with the draw or setup functions in processing, and we also need to close a class with a curly bracket. Now we are ready to run our program. How to run the program is dependent on your environment, which we will cover later on, but in the IDE I am using called Eclipse, I will simply press on the green circle with the white triangle in the toolbar. And there we go, our console has popped up and we can see it has printed our greeting. Now I can change the greeting to include my name, and if I rerun the program, we can see the console now displays our new greeting. You now know how to create a Java program. Remember, we always need these top two lines where the first line creates the class we are working inside of, and the second line creates the main function we can run. In our next video, we'll look at how to download the Java Standard Edition, or Java SE for short. See you there!